I'm gonna say this kind of as like a first time experience, like I've never lowered a car before. I've been in the golf game for 5 years now, and I can tell you guys just from my experience, it's a totally different car when you lower. You know, I'll tell you the good and the bad. So the good, obviously, your car is gonna look insanely cooler. Being that much lower, even if you drop like half an inch, still looks much better than factory. These Golf Rs look okay. They are pretty low compared to like the GTIs, the GLIs, especially the Golfs. You know, as you guys know, probably the Golf is the highest, GTI is semi-high, the Golf R is like a little bit lower than high, but still pretty high, and you want to lower it. My thinking and my reasoning going behind the springs and why I sprung for some springs is because I wanted to be able to retain my DCC function, my mag ride, and you know, one of the benefits to having this mag ride is the ability to, you know, go from, you know, a crazy driving machine into its race setting, you know, switching all the way to comfort, where it's more smooth, but still pretty competent on the road. So I will say one of the things you're going to notice once you do springs on this car, the car will ride a little bit stiffer than it typically would stock. That's to be expected. Once you lower a car, you're going to obviously reduce the amount of travel just by being that much lower. It's just going to ride a little bit stiffer, and race mode definitely feels stiffer. It's not, you know, beating me up, but it's stiff, and it's pretty bouncy too. And I went with the VWR springs, which is a pretty respectable spring when it comes to ride quality. They're not over the top, and but you know, they offer a decent amount of low. It's around a 3/4 drop for I think all around on average. Looks good though, you know. It definitely passes the shoe test. It still looks kind of like an OEM Plus, which is kind of what I wanted. I didn't want to slam it, simply because I didn't want to be that much lower to the ground, and I also didn't want to, you know, I didn't want the ride quality to be that bad. Alright, so let's kick it off. Alright, so right off the bat, you know, I typically drive on my commutes back roads, and you know, it's very compliant on these back roads. It's you know, I typically drive in comfort mode. I don't want to beat myself up all the time. It's also just for gas reasons. I want to be able to drive fuel efficiently. So I'm in comfort a lot, and comfort is still pretty comfortable. I know, you know, when a lot of people get DCC, they want to be able to keep their DCC. That's why they go for lowering springs, or that's why they don't even lower their car at all, because, you know, they want their car to be comfortable. But I can tell you with pretty positive, you know, New England Pete feedback, that the car does still drive really comfortably in comfort mode. It's a little bit stiffer, and you're going to feel some certain bumps a little bit more. But overall, it's very compliant. You know, it's not gonna beat you up. It kind of feels like you're driving a little cruiser. You know, it's not bad. It still retains that nice comfort function. So that is one of the benefits to again, going lowering springs. So what we'll do now is, because we'll kind of kick it up a little notch. I'm not gonna go into normal mode because it's just that weird in between. So we'll go to kill mode. Why not? Race mode it is, and as you can probably see just from my body, it's stiffer, which to some people is a not good thing. But again, if you can change it on the go, then why complain? This car around corners is so much better. As you guys know, just the general benefits to lowering cars, whether it be on lowering springs or coilovers, is the lower center of gravity, which means less body roll. And coming, you know, from somebody who's never had a lower car before, I'm noticing it. It does not have that much body roll. At least it's pretty reduced. You know, it's still gonna have a little bit of body roll. At the end of the day, it's a Golf, and I'm not on an aggressive coilover. You know, I'm just on the factory suspension with some lowering springs, and yeah, I'm gonna say pretty confidently that the turn-in's pretty nice. It's very neutral, and it's steady around corners. I can take, you know, I have a lot more confidence going into corners at higher speeds, which, you know, back in my GTI, I can tell you I didn't really have. You know, if it wasn't understeering, it was just super sketchy. Those are the two things it was typically. And what I mean by sketchy is the body roll was just pretty, it was there. Now this setup is just really nice because it allows me to, you know, enjoy the car, you know, without ruining the ride of it. And another thing too that I want to touch on, the braking. This thing brakes so much nicer now, and I don't want to say it's faster, you know, it brakes in less distant. It just has less nosedive. That was something I was noticing a lot on the, you know, there's one of the biggest differences actually. Obviously, aside from the body roll and just the feel, you know, one of that big difference that I was really noticing was the fact that the nose would dive in like a lot less. And you know, when you're cooking it, it's nice that the car kind of just stays planted. It doesn't really move around a lot, and that's one of the things that I really do like. Less nosedive is pretty superb, if you ask me. So to sum things up, basically the pros: your car looks better, it drives better, as far as the performance driving aspect is a lot better. Ride quality is going to be a little bouncier and a little stiffer. You know, it's still worth the money, it's still worth the drop, if that makes sense, but you know, you're not going to be, you know, H&R makes a way more aggressive lowering spring, and you know, and there's other brands out there that slam your Golf, but for me, for my driving style and, you know, what I look for in a car, I don't want to be that low, and this car still looks much lower. I mean, you can tell it's low, you can tell it's been lowered, so that's kind of one of the nice things about these springs. Again, the lower you go, the stiffer the ride is, and you know, for my typical driving style, I don't want to beat myself up, so I certainly think that I went the right route. Again, you just can't go wrong with a super solid spring setup with MagRide. You know, you really can't. So I love this car even more now, and I'm super glad that I picked up these VWR springs. I am not sponsored by them, so this is not like anything that I'm paid by. This was actually something that I went out and bought because, you know, if they would have sponsored me, I would have totally done it. But I decided to go out and buy these for myself, and I'm really glad that I made this decision because these are some really awesome springs. So yeah, I think I'm gonna pretty much end it there. Again, definitely something to consider if you are like me and you have DCC. I know GTI Rabbits have it. There are some other GTI trims that have it, you know, more of those fully loaded ones, but still definitely something to consider if you're looking to lower your car and you don't want to, you know, ruin it. Definitely something to consider, guys. As you probably would expect, I am now seeking out wheels, so I probably in the next couple weeks I will be looking for different kind of wheel companies, and so give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys recommend, because I'm definitely, you know, open to all suggestions. I'm gonna end it there. Thank you guys again for watching my channel and supporting me, and I can't wait to make more awesome videos in the future. So with that said, I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace and love.